My name is Jode Mendes. I'm 31 years old, and I live in Denver, Colorado. 6 months ago, at my sister-in-law's engagement party, my husband's family handed me a plastic name badge that said, Jode, Housekeeper. Then they gave me a place setting at the family table with no chair. 300 guests watched while my mother-in-law smiled and told me, "This table is for family only." My husband, Lucas, the man whose company I had secretly saved from bankruptcy, looked at the badge in my hand and laughed. That laugh ended my marriage before I ever signed a paper. But what none of them knew was that I had already documented everything. The fraud, the stolen money, the fake invoices, and the affair he paid for with company funds. Before I tell you what happened next, let me take you back to where this really began. Before we get into this, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story truly resonates with you. And drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to know where you are right now. I was not born into wealth like the Hawthorns. My childhood started in a trailer in Pueblo, Colorado, with a roof that leaked every spring and a refrigerator that hummed louder when it was empty. My father left before I could remember his face. My mother worked 3 jobs and came home smelling like bleach, fryer oil, and exhaustion. By the time I was 11, I could balance her checkbook better than most adults. I knew which bill could be paid 3 days late, and which one would get the power cut off by Friday. That kind of childhood teaches you 2 things. First, nobody is coming to save you. Second, broken things only stay broken if you let them. I studied business at a state university on a full scholarship. I didn't have legacy connections, country club references, or a father who could make a phone call for me. What I had was discipline. I could look at a messy spreadsheet and see where money was bleeding. I could read contracts and notice the clause everyone else missed. By 26, I had built my own crisis management company, Nexus Advisory. We helped struggling businesses survive. If a company was drowning, I found the leak. Then I met Lucas Hawthorne. He spilled coffee on my laptop bag in a cafe downtown and insisted on buying me dinner. He was charming in the effortless way rich people can be charming when they have never had to calculate a grocery bill in their heads. He told me I was intense like it was a compliment. He said his family was suffocating and that I was real. For a girl who had spent her life being useful, being wanted felt like a luxury. We married 2 years later. I thought I was entering a family. I didn't understand I was entering a ranking system. His mother, Cora, smiled with her mouth, but never with her eyes. His father, Richard, treated me like I was temporary furniture. At Easter brunch, Cora once asked, loud enough for 12 people to hear, "Did you really grow up without a dishwasher, dear?" Then she laughed softly and said, "How quaint. No wonder you appreciate all this." Lucas squeezed my knee under the table. I thought he was comforting me. Later, I realized he was warning me not to answer back. 18 months before that engagement party, Lucas came home pale and shaking. Hawthorne Manufacturing, his family's legacy company, was collapsing. They had lost 3 major contracts. Vendors were threatening legal action. Payroll for 200 workers was at risk. Richard was in denial. Cora was still spending like champagne grew on trees. Lucas cried at our kitchen island. "Jode, if this company fails, my father will never recover. I'll lose everything. Please, you're the only person who can fix this." So I fixed it. I reviewed 12 years of vendor agreements, found $430,000 in waste, renegotiated shipping terms, restructured their production schedule, and discovered a tax credit they had ignored for 3 years. I worked nights after running my own company. I missed weekends, birthdays, and sleep. Lucas asked me not to tell his parents. "Dad has too much pride," he said. "If he knows my wife from Pueblo is saving his company, he'll never forgive me. Let me present the ideas. For us. For us." That was the phrase that made me agree. 6 months later, Hawthorne Manufacturing was profitable again. The board praised Lucas as a genius. Richard said he had finally become a true Hawthorne. Cora hosted a dinner and toasted her son for saving the family name. I sat at the end of the table, while Lucas lifted his glass and accepted every word. I waited for him to say my name. He didn't. That was the first crack. After the company recovered, Lucas changed. Or maybe he stopped pretending. My business, the one billing 7 figures a year, became my little side project. He told me his mother preferred when I looked softer. He suggested I stop working so much and take up tennis. At dinners, Richard praised Lucas for strategies I had written on our kitchen island, while Lucas played video games beside me. One night at the country club, I overheard the truth through a hedge near the patio. "She's useful," Richard said. Lucas laughed. "A hammer is useful. Doesn't mean I want to take it to bed." The men at the table laughed. Then Lucas said the sentence I still remember word for word. "You can't wash the Pueblo off her. She tries, but she'll never really fit in." My palm was pressed into the hedge so hard the leaves cut my skin. I didn't step out. I didn't scream. I walked to my car and sat there for 47 minutes, staring at the steering wheel. That was the night the victim in me died, and the strategist woke up. The next morning, I opened the secure server I had built when I was saving Hawthorne Manufacturing. Lucas had forgotten I still had access. He was never a detail person. I started looking, and it took less than 2 hours to find the first fake invoice. LJH Consulting. Lucas James Hawthorne. A shell company. He had billed the business $10,000 here, $15,000 there, for consulting services that never happened. In 6 months, he had skimmed over $200,000. Richard had charged family vacations as business travel. Cora had pushed personal renovation costs through the company as warehouse repairs. It was tax fraud. It was embezzlement. It was investor fraud. And then, I found the Ritz-Carlton charges. Thursday nights. The same nights Lucas said he had strategy meetings. Flowers delivered to a woman named Sarah, a diamond bracelet from Tiffany's that had never touched my wrist. I didn't cry. I created a folder called Insurance. I downloaded invoices, bank records, emails, wire transfers, hotel receipts, and time-stamped photos. I backed everything up twice. One copy went into the cloud, one went into a safe deposit box. I also sent a summary to Tara, my assistant at Nexus, with one instruction. If I texted the word execute, she would release everything to the board, the SEC whistleblower portal, and the forensic accountant, already on standby. I know some of you are thinking, why didn't I confront him right then? Because I knew Lucas. If I confronted him privately, he would cry. He would blame pressure, his father, his childhood, his fear. He would turn the knife around and make me apologize for bleeding. So I waited. Then Zuri's engagement party arrived. Zuri was Lucas's younger sister. She was selfish in the casual way. Spoiled people are selfish. But she wasn't cruel like Cora. I had helped with the party because that was what I did. I fixed things. I ordered the lilies when Cora forgot. I corrected the seating chart. I called the caterer twice. Even on my way out, I was still cleaning up their mess. The night before the party, Lucas came home smelling like jasmine perfume. I don't wear perfume. He kissed my forehead and told me to wear something quiet. "Just blend in tomorrow," he said. "You're good at being in the background." After he went upstairs, I opened my closet. In the back was an emerald silk dress I had bought years before Lucas told me it was too much. I took it out and laid it across the bed. The next evening, I drove myself to the Cherry Creek estate, where the party was being held. Valets were parking Porsches and Bentleys under golden lights. A string quartet played near the entrance. The air smelled like lilies, champagne, and money. Cora saw me first. Her smile froze when she saw the dress. "Jode," she said, "that color is very noticeable." "Hello, Cora," I said. She pointed to the badge table. "Find your name tag. Lucas is inside with the investors. Try not to disturb him." There were hundreds of badges in elegant calligraphy. Senator Miller, Dr. Harrison, CEO Richard Hawthorne. Then I found mine. It was not calligraphy. It was a cheap office label stuck inside a plastic holder. Jode, Housekeeper. For a second, the room went silent inside my head. Then I looked across the ballroom. Lucas stood by the bar with his father. He saw the badge in my hand. He smirked and raised his glass like it was a joke. I didn't pin it on. I held it. Dinner chimes rang. Guests moved toward their tables. I walked to the head table. There were place cards for Richard, Cora, Lucas, Zuri, and Zuri's fiancé. There was a plate for me between Lucas and Zuri. Silverware, crystal glass, folded napkin, no chair. 300 guests settled into silence as I stood there in an emerald dress with a housekeeper badge in my hand. Cora sat at the center of the table and lifted her chin. "Oh, Jode, I'm so sorry. We had a last-minute adjustment. No seat for you here, dear. This table is for family only." I looked at Lucas. He covered his mouth and laughed. "Come on, Jode," he said. "Don't make a scene. Just grab a plate near the kitchen." Something inside me went perfectly still. I placed the badge on the table. Then I slid my wedding ring off my finger. The diamond caught the chandelier light one last time before I set it on the empty plate. The sound was small, but everyone heard it. "You're right," I said to Cora. "This table is for family." Then I looked at Lucas. "And I don't belong here anymore." His smile disappeared. "Jode, sit down." "No," I said. "I'm done sitting. I'm done fixing. And I'm done with you." I tapped the plastic badge. "You got the title wrong. It shouldn't say housekeeper. It should say owner." Then I walked out. My heels clicked down the center of the ballroom. Nobody spoke. Nobody stopped me. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I was walking on solid ground. If you've ever been treated like the help by people who needed your help, drop karma in the comments. Because what happened next proved something I will never forget. The truth isn't revenge. It's just a mirror. I drove to Lookout Mountain and sat on the hood of my car with Denver glowing below me. My phone showed 9:15 p.m. I opened Tara's text thread and typed one word: execute. Then I turned my phone off. By morning, Hawthorne Manufacturing was on the local news. Fraud scandal, frozen accounts, board investigation. Richard was filmed leaving the office with a jacket over his face. Lucas left me 38 voicemails in 4 hours. First he screamed, then he begged. Then he said we could fix it. We couldn't. He had broken it long before I exposed it. My divorce lawyer reviewed the files and removed his glasses after 20 minutes. "Miss Mendes," he said, "this isn't leverage. This is a massacre. I don't want their money," I told him. "I want back what I invested, with interest. I want my name cleared. And I want signed acknowledgement that I saved that company." The settlement took 6 months. Lucas was fired for cause. Richard stepped down. Cora lost her charity boards. They avoided prison only because the stolen money was repaid, penalties were accepted, and the board wanted to protect the 200 employees who had done nothing wrong. Lucas got the Porsche in the divorce. I got my freedom. And then came the twist I didn't expect. 3 months after the settlement, Zuri called me. I almost didn't answer, but something in me did. Her voice was small. "Jode, I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know about the badge until that night. Mom told me it was a staff mix-up. I should have said something when I saw your chair missing." "Why are you calling Zuri?" She started crying. "Because I checked the documents. You really saved us. And they all laughed at you." I didn't comfort her. Not at first. Sorry is a word. It's a starting place, not a finish line. But Zuri did something nobody else in that family did. She changed. She left her fiancé after finding out he knew about Lucas's affair, and said nothing. She got a job outside the Hawthorne name. A year later, she asked me to review a lease for her first apartment. I did. Not because she was family by blood, but because she was finally trying to become someone honest. Lucas tried to come back twice, once with flowers, once with a handwritten letter full of beautiful excuses. I didn't open the door either time. The woman who once begged for a seat at his table no longer lived there. Today, Nexus Advisory has 14 employees. Last quarter, we crossed $3.8 million in revenue. My office has glass walls, a long walnut table, and a framed copy of the signed Hawthorne acknowledgement. Not because I need to stare at their shame, but because I need to remember my truth. In the corner of my office, there is a small plastic badge. Jode, Housekeeper. I keep it there for one reason. It reminds me of the woman I used to be. The fixer, the pleaser, the ghost. And it reminds me of the woman I became when I finally understood that a seat at the wrong table is not a blessing. It is a cage. Maybe you are watching this while sitting at a table where you feel invisible. Maybe you are saving people who laugh at you behind your back. Maybe someone pinned a name on you that was never yours. Failure, burden, outsider, the help. Take it off. You don't have to destroy anyone. You don't have to scream. You don't have to become cruel to prove you were hurt. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is gather the truth, set it on the table, remove your ring, and walk away. I didn't get revenge. I became someone who didn't need it. My name is Jode Mendes. I used to be the housekeeper in a house of lies. Now I am the owner of my own life, and that is something no one can ever take away. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment, tell me your story, or just write, "I'm here," and subscribe if you want more stories about people who stopped begging for love and started choosing themselves.